Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 154 for August 26, 2015. My name continues to be Russell Frost, and I am your host this evening. And thank you very much for coming along. This week I am very lucky to have with me two of my favorite panelists. Ooh, I just screwed myself, didn't I?
No, not at all.
You're just pandering.
Yeah, the two guys here are like, yeah, cool. Everybody else is like, whoa, what?
Hey.
Well, to screw it. You guys are here. You're two of my favorites. So let's start off by let's just go a little untraditional here and introduce our man from the exciting Northwest, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello from Oregon. So last week, when I was giving my little tidbit, I lost my connection. And I was wondering why Russell was talking over me and Evan was saying, where's the Oregon fact? And I was like, I just said it. Didn't you guys hear me? So that explains why that was missing last week.
Oh.
And the world will never know what little factoid I was giving out there.
So no factoid this week?
Oh, no, I have one.
Oh.
Yeah, so I just explaining last week's before I get to it. So this week's tidbit is that Oregon currently has 11 large fires burning, and only one of those is contained. And then Washington has a similar number. Last Saturday, the skies were hazy, made for great sunset pictures, but not great for breathing or eyes or anything else.
Dude, that's horrible.
But the smoke is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, ironically, yes, it is.
Wow.
From a photographer's perspective, it's gorgeous.
Right. So Tony has started this tradition of doing a beer on the show. So I'm going to join in. So I have a Black Butte Porter from Bend, Oregon, and let me just read a little bit of it here. An opening volley. This pioneering dark ale signaled Deschutes' renegade intentions. Its creamy mouthfeel, complex layers, hop edge, and chocolate finish personify passion-forward brewing. And then you have your church key. I have my aluminum Falcon here.
Nice. That's awesome.
Sweet. Well, speaking of the other half of our panel this week, let's welcome our man from the Midwest, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey everybody. It's me. I am drinking what's called a Gringolandia. So it's sort of like a Portlandia, but it's Gringolandia Super Pills. And
you finished off the Fat Weasels?
I did, and they were delicious. And this one is pretty funny. It's a tribute to the guts and glory that is American craft beer, and I don't know if you can see that it's like grenades and glasses and I think bunny ears right there, bottles and there's like cups and all kinds of wackiness. So it says it's a super pills, and I have no idea what that's going to be. So I'm excited about that. And to honor Mr. Paul Guzik, I still have my Boulder beer, Church Key. So Paul, this one's for you. I have no Illinois tidbit, other than to say, I don't know.
Other than to say, let's start off with 2-minute topics. Tony.
Ooh, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad?
Not bad at all.
Like the super pills, huh?
Super pills?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it is 7.2%. So give it about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and you're going to be lit, and it's just going to be over.
Right.
Damn.
Okay, so...
Short show this week, kids.
Oh, hey, and you're back.
Let's go. Yeah, whoa.
Tony got up off the floor.
Topic.
So my 2-minute topic is not local. You know, I like, I always try to find something local, and I know this is what drives us, but this is not car related. But I just thought this was really cool news. Hawaii's governor has signed a I don't know what you would call it, is treatise, bill, law, whatever, to a vision, energy vision, to completely sever Hawaii from any petroleum-based non-renewable energy by the year 2045. And, I always say, well, geez, that's 30 years away, but, you got to ramp up. Now, there's a lot of really cool things about this. In the first place, energy, electricity, and gas in Hawaii is extremely expensive because everything has to be barged out there. So at one point they say in the article that electricity averaged around 6 cents per kilowatt hour. The rest of the U.S. averages 12 cents.
Wow.
So that's huge. But then again, I mean, you're in Hawaii, so it's not like I wouldn't think you're running your air conditioner much. You just leave the windows open. But still, 36 cents a kilowatt hour is pretty dang high. And then they also tie into not only will this help the entire state of Hawaii be energy independent, so you don't have to worry about shipping things out, about the ocean and everything. It also brings in the military. There's of course military bases in Hawaii, and the military, as we've mentioned on the show before, is looking into renewable energy for their pretty much for their entire operations. Because in the same way that you can say that an army marches on its stomach, vehicles drive on their gas tanks. And for that reason, they have to ship out the gasoline and the oil and all the fuel to keep everything running. So, as we've mentioned, the armed forces are looking at solar, and they're looking at hybrids, and they're looking at EVs, and they're looking at ways to reduce their petroleum and non-renewable energy. So the military bases in Hawaii, fully on board and supporting this, and according to the article, they're doing what they can to help make this happen. So, I just wanted to mention this because my hope is we get one state that goes completely off the grid, then it just sets the bar that other states can do it too.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's an island. They've got sun, they've got wind, they've got waves, they've got geothermal. They don't have oil. They don't have coal. So why is oil and coal what they selected for their fuel sources and energy sources? I think there's some better options there.
Yeah, they're going to tap into the heat from the volcanoes.
Absolutely.
Volcano powered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Iceland does it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even that far-fetched.
Right.
It's cool to see Hawaii doing this. And do they always wear the leis whenever they're doing anything? I mean, is that like really I thought that was just like a tourist thing, but here's the governor and two of his assistants, I guess, with flowers, like.
Because hey, if you're going to sign a monumental bill, you might as well get laid doing it.
Yeah, good point.
But
you can thank me for that setup after the show.
I appreciate it.
Speaking of setups, let's hear from Patrick Connor.
Okay, so my 2-minute topic. Oh, I don't have it up here right now, but that's okay. So Tesla recently announced that they were gonna partner with Airbnb and install Tesla chargers at some of the high-end Airbnb locations. And I totally picked this because when I posted the story, Russell ranted about what a horrible idea this is. And maybe it's a little schadenfreude on my part or whatever, but I really enjoy the Russell rants.
So it must be a great idea if Russell's ranting about it.
Right. I think he was going on about how awesome it was, and what a great move by Tesla it is, and how he loves Airbnb. And yeah. So let's hear it, Russell. I want your response.
It's funny. I almost wore the Tesla shirt tonight, and I went, you know what? I got other things to talk about this week. Okay, I don't want to disappoint you, Patrick. So,
thank you.
I don't get this. I think this is the triumph of image over reality. I get the marketing standpoint, but what it's basically doing is setting up Tesla superchargers, or not superchargers. I guess they're just regular chargers. Right. Standard EV chargers in exclusive locations that by definition are private residences and used by very, very few people. To me, that's the definition of not the way we want to be deploying chargers in 2015. We want to put them out where people can see them, where people can use them, and the public, especially the gas car driving public, can go, look, there's an EV charger there, there's an EV charger there. Why don't I have an EV? Now, if it's just at the local Airbnb spiffy house, mansion where people are spending the weekend, I don't get what it does. I get that it is sort of a nice little thing for Tesla owners or for other EV drivers. That's great. I have no problem with it. It seems like I said, like it's a triumph of marketing over practicality.
Okay, so
Flame
go ahead, Tony.
away!
I was going to say maybe it is. Maybe it is. And Russell, you are one who often looks at marketing things and says a marketing manager's job is to make sure there's always something to talk about, no matter how trivial. And here we are talking about it.
So would Tesla be better off spending marketing dollars actually installing charging stations or making commercials and buying Super Bowl ads? I would rather have them doing anything. Right. Okay. So let me defend Tesla here. Easy enough for me to do. So they're doing their supercharger network, and then you can also find stories saying Tesla's other network where they're doing what they call destination charging, and these are chargers that you can use overnight when you're traveling, and they're putting them at major hotels, but they're also in a modern era business, and they're not ignoring peer-to-peer things like Airbnb. If you have a big auto company and they were to deploy things, they'd make some partnership with one or two hotel chains and then deploy a few and be done. But Tesla's doing more than that. They're looking at how do people travel today, and that includes using Airbnb locations. And they're specifically targeting it at high-end locations where the people that are staying there could see that and go, oh, hey, you know what? There's a Tesla charging station here. I've heard of that company. That's pretty cool. Maybe I should get one. So it's also targeting their demographic of people from the marketing perspective. Not that I think that's the primary reason, but I still think it's a great idea. Russell's just face palming. Oh, well. Okay.
You know what it is? It's the Airbnb thing that bugs me. If they were putting these in like JW Marriott's or Four Seasons or other high-end locations where Tesla customers lodge, at least that would serve hundreds, maybe thousands of people a year, and definitely thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people would see those things at somebody's house.
You're not buying into Airbnb, huh? Well, they're not using Couchsurfer. I mean,
Airbnb is awesome. I don't have a problem with Airbnb at all. The problem that I have is using their locations as a marketing tool. I don't think it's a good vehicle.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's a JW Marriott downtown Chicago that there's valet service. They park your car in a garage, in a parking garage, and they have a section that's just reserved for that. And yeah, I completely agree. If you had a plug-in right there, then people driving through the parking garage would see, spots reserved for Tesla drivers, and it would be right there. And you know that high-end people are staying at the JW Marriott downtown Chicago. So that would be, yeah, you're right. There would be better exposure. I don't know what the tie-in is with Airbnb, and I have nothing against Airbnb. I've used Airbnb, but I kind of agree. This seems like a company that has a huge face in the market picking this trivial exposure.
So why not do both?
Fair enough.
Yeah. How much does a home charger really cost Tesla? $500 to install it, and they're making a bunch of them anyway for their customers, so they're going to have it at cost for parts.
I don't have a problem if this is part of a program. My problem is just like Tesla and Airbnb and chargers. It's a nothing burger.
It is a part of a much bigger destination charging program.
Fair enough. Well, have I ranted enough on Tesla?
Thank you.
That's quite all right. I am here to please everyone, Patrick. Let's dig into the news, and this is a very interesting article. And if you've watched this show, you've heard me rant. Well, you've heard me rant.
just
Show's over. Good night. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
You've heard me rant about sourcing news from financial publications. The financial media loves link bait and seldom there's so much. The articles are just filled with garbage. This seems to be sort of an interesting exception to that rule. This week, Fortune magazine, in fact, yesterday, Fortune magazine published an article that talks about a recently released J.D. Power survey. It was the J.D. Power 2015 Driver Interactive Vehicle Experience Report. And what it did was ask people what they wanted, what they didn't want, what they used, what they didn't use. And I was actually kind of surprised. Now, I'm not going to read the headline because the headline is real linkbaity and not even really accurate. When you dig into the article, in fact, it's not super accurate at all. So we're going to skip that part of it. And if you click on the link, ignore the headline because really, you're smarter than that. You're a What Drives Us viewer. You know what? In fact, let me. Did you guys have you had a chance to skim this yet? I mean, did you anything here really jumped out and surprised you?
I don't know. Maybe a few things. Well, okay. First of all, I need you or Patrick to clarify for me what falls under the category of vehicle concierge.
You see, is that Siri? Or what's the Microsoft competitor? Something with a C?
Bing? No. Oh,
Cora?
Or is it just OnStar where you can push a button and talk to somebody live?
I don't know.
Yeah, there is that. Because I was thinking about the. This actually proves the point of the article that we can't even name some of these things, but there's
maybe it does. Maybe
where you can. There's that app where you can buy movie tickets.
Oh yeah.
And Fandango.
Well, there's another movie ticket app.
Oh yeah, and then there's one where you can book your dinner. Is that right?
Yeah. Open Table.
Open Table. Does that count as concierge?
I don't know. So let me take the easy one. Number one on the list of top tech consumers don't want in their vehicle. Number one at 58% consumers said they didn't want this rear seat entertainment. So now we know that 58% of consumers have no children. Because I don't want rear seat entertainment, but I don't know anyone with children that doesn't want rear seat entertainment.
Yeah, if Danny were here tonight, he would be telling you how much he wants that.
Yeah,
right.
I just
anything to keep them quiet.
Yeah, I mean, number two is massaging seats. Well,
I had no idea there were any vehicles that had massaging seats. I seriously did not know that.
I would consider that a distraction.
Yeah.
If you're the driver, if you're not, if it's there, you could use it or not.
Fair enough.
See that. Yeah.
That's something you put in the passenger seat, right?
But since it's your own car, do you get your quarters back?
Yes, you collect them once a month.
Great.
Or when you go to the dealer to have the oil change, they take them. Maybe that's like a
probably, yeah.
So at 5 and 6 on the top 6 things that consumers don't want in their vehicles, at 38% and 37% were Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Now, the thing that this survey doesn't really say is that almost nobody's gotten to use either one of these things yet. These are just now being deployed in vehicles. So people are saying, we don't want this. They've never used it.
Well, they have them as separate line items, which makes me wonder, okay, I'm an Android person. I don't want Apple CarPlay. I want Android Auto. And then vice versa. So if you do the math right, 100% of people want one or the other.
Right.
I wonder. That's a good point. That is a good point.
That's why we have a smart guy on this show.
You can lie with numbers. It's just all slice and dice. Whatever you want to say, you can make a way to...
What I thought, and so the next list is the top 5 things that consumers want in their next vehicle, and all of this, it makes total sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is that I think some people don't even realize they probably already have this in their car and aren't using it. So 87% wanted blind spot warning and detection. Now, that's a super useful thing, and not everybody has that yet, but lots of us do. A fuel economy indicator. That's pretty common these days, even in gas cars.
Right. They're finding their way in, even if it's just a little, just a little display, a
Right.
little, minor thing.
I suspect that a good portion of the 87% of the people that want that in their next car probably couldn't program their VCR either and don't know where that display is. You know what I mean? It's like they've got to press the windshield wiper button twice and boop, there it pops up.
I think their fuel economy indicator is constantly blinking 12.
Yeah, exactly. 86% of the people wanted a seat lumbar adjustment. I think I had a 75 Volvo that had it. I mean...
Yeah, but those suites are comfortable.
Yeah, maybe the Volvos were ahead of their time in 75, but really, I mean, you've got to have a pretty cheap car not to have some sort of lumbar support in the seating, no?
I don't know, adjustable. My 2004 Prius has about every tech I could probably think of, and it does not have adjustable lumbar.
Really?
Really?
Wow. I guess they
or
added
maybe
that
they're just or maybe they're saying they want better lumbar adjustment.
Maybe.
I want something to automatically detect and adjust on the fly.
Yeah.
84% people wanted a phone pairing system.
Right.
Bluetooth?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
I'm surprised that only 16% knew they had it already.
Well, again, I wonder if this is, to follow up on Patrick's thing, I wonder if people, it's called top tech consumers want on their next vehicle. So maybe they have it, and they're just saying, I want it.
And I still want it, right.
Right.
I didn't think I would want that until I actually had it. Now I'd never want to buy a car without it.
Sure.
So,
sure.
I think, yeah.
And Patrick, did you see the big anomaly in this list that didn't really, that caught my eye?
No.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I think I can rationalize it.
Okay, Tony, take it.
No, set it up.
You want me to set it up? Okay. So
your anomaly.
On the top list of things that consumers do not want, number 4, with 39% of the people surveyed said they did not want this. They did not want an automatic parking system. So if we scroll down a few paragraphs, the top tech consumers want on their next vehicle, oddly enough, number 5, with 82% of the people surveyed wanting this device, they want something that is a parking assist.
I just want some assistance, not full automation.
Oh.
And that's where I'm taking it, because the list of things that they don't want is automatic parking system. I'm taking that as meaning the fully automatic, pull the car up, push the button, let go of everything, the car parks itself. Whereas some vehicles do have the little boxes,
sure.
That help guide you in, the little distance, the radar that tells you when you're getting close. That's what I think of when I think of the park assist. So that's why I think people would just prefer to have the assist, but not the fully automatic.
I see. Okay.
That's my theory. That's how I wrote it.
I think there's a. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Patrick.
There's a lot of people right now, today, that are afraid of letting the computer take over anything in their car. Mm-hmm. And I think once we have autonomous cars or autopilot cars or whatever, 2 years of that being commonplace and people will be very comfortable with it. And these numbers will change dramatically. Today, people say, no, I like to drive. Well, yeah, you might like to drive on a track or something, but commutes are not fun drives. I mean, it's just not. You're not out there for a Sunday drive or for pleasure driving. So, yeah.
Are you kidding? 5 days a week I'm driving to work going, woo, this is awesome! 45-minute commute, baby! Woo!
That's the magic of Northern Illinois right there.
Yes.
Tony's happy if he can beat yesterday's hypermile score, so he is all, yes, let's go!
Yes. Rocket,
75.3!
No. 59.9 is not 60. Okay.
It's interesting. I mean, there's the classic power window syndrome that every car dealer will tell you is absolute fact, which is, once you have power windows, you never want to go back to cranking them. But if you've never had power windows, the idea that you're going to pay extra for a little button, crank was good enough for my daddy, it's good enough for me. Well, sure, maybe.
Right,
but
right.
you get used to that auto up and down button, and you know, suddenly a crank seems really Paleolithic. So,
like a savage rolling my window down.
Exactly. Exactly. So, you know, I don't know. It's an interesting survey. I looked around and I couldn't find the original report. I suspect I would have to be a highly paid J.D. Power subscriber to see the original. But if I do find it, I'll bring it up in a future show because it's an interesting survey, and it's certainly something that's becoming, I think, more and more. I think we're getting to the time when, you know, at a time there was like, it's a 351 V8, and that was a selling point of the car. And I think we're moving a little bit away from that and a little more to, it gets 40 mpg and it's got Bluetooth, you know?
Right, and park assist, and backseat entertainment, and massaging seats, and lumbar control, and it'll lull you to sleep while you're driving.
Oh, yeah. Wait, that's not good.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I took that too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. We've seen how Gen Y is less interested in cars than any generation has been since the '50s, and I don't know what gen follows them, Gen Z, whatever. The Minecraft generation, they're going to care even less.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And especially since I think the manufacturers have been so bad at assessing what people want. You know, I mean, they've been much more concerned with preserving their existing business model than they have been in serving up cars that people really want.
Yeah, and I don't think the survey is going to always give you the best answers on what people do or don't want. What's the famous Henry Ford quote? If I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, in some ways I do sort of, just in a little way, feel bad for manufacturers because, you know, they have to build a car that's going to last 10 years. And they have to guess at what people are going to want and try to introduce something that are going to keep people happy for 10 years. And that is tough. Yeah. I mean, I get it. But, you know, hopefully feedback like this, hopefully focus groups and stuff will get more targeted into what people actually want in their cars. And the one thing that really bothers me about how cars are put together, bundled, priced, and whatever, is that in order to get some of the features that you want, you may end up having to pay for fully automated parking, something you didn't even want, or, you know, whatever, a full-on nav system that's going to be obsolete in 2 years, and I'm just going to use my phone anyway. You know, there it is.
You're so generous. Obsolete in 2 years? You don't mean obsolete when you drive it off the lot?
Well, yeah, of course.
Because it's DVD based.
Because the DVD was burned 3 years ago. Yeah, I almost took a picture. I was driving home, and, you know, as everyone knows from a few weeks ago, I was back from visiting my family in southern Indiana and had built a new road, and I almost took a picture of my navigation in my car that had me literally in the middle of green. Yeah.
One of the biggest shopping centers in Lancaster isn't on any of the nav maps. So, like, whenever I pull into it, I'm in this field. And it's been there. I've lived here 12 years. I think it was built a few years before I moved here. So we're talking something that's been there well over a decade, and it's still not on the map.
Is that the One Pine Mall?
No. No, I don't think it's the One Pine. That's something else.
That's the Back to the Future reference, right?
Was that? I'm sorry. You see,
somebody followed along. I know.
Yeah. I'm gonna just as a heads up, panelists, I'm gonna skip a story and kind of change the order. It was announced today that General Motors is beginning to build a $500 million EV factory in China. This is extending a partnership they already have with SAIC Motor Corporation and Wuling Motors sorry, did I say Japan? In China.
In China, yeah.
And the interesting thing about this factory is this is what the Chinese government describes as a factory dedicated to new energy vehicles, which means battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids only. They expect the capacity of the factory to be about 200,000 cars per year, which in China, that's like a real tiny drop in the bucket. Look at Patrick.
I was going to say, I have a scoop. Here's what they're going to be building.
Yes.
Tony wanted to know what kind of car would last 10 years and what would be. Here you go.
That's the car I want right there.
That is terrible. Wow.
Okay.
Thank you for that bridge from the last story to this one. So I'm not sure.
Segue ever.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Better than my segues, which are non-existent. Obviously, this is an interesting development. Obviously, this has been in the plans for a long time. But given the economic upheaval taking place in China just this week, and the trends in China in general, this is a gutsy maneuver. It'll be interesting to see if they actually follow through with this.
There is a lot of EV growth in China, and that's one thing about China. They don't have to move as slow as the rest of the world. Once they've decided they're going to go in a direction and they put mandates out to say this is what we're going to support, these are the only types of cars we're going to allow in cities on certain days, or whatever incentives they want to put in place, they can make it happen.
I guess that's the advantage of a government-controlled economy, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You will all buy EVs. Thank you.
All right.
Well, and obviously, it's something that pollution is a problem that China struggles with. Just terrible, horrible pollution. Mm-hmm. So, a big part of that is obviously coal power plants, but also personal vehicles, of which there are a couple in China.
Yes, yeah. The cynic in me got the two paragraphs or the two sentences that said this product line will be manufactured and sold in China, Mexico, and India, among other regions. There are no plans to export the vehicles to mature markets such as the United States. And the cynic in me wanted to follow that with, when they do actually build a factory to sell vehicles into the United States, of course they'll build it in the United States. And then I just laughed myself silly because they would never do that.
And obviously it's crash standards and other things like
Yes.
that they can build a vehicle to different standards and sell it in that Asian market that they can't sell here. And
right.
I mean, two of the biggest growing markets on this planet, India and China. I mean, that's by no means an inconsiderable market.
Oh, of course.
So.
Yeah, and as you said, very different crash standards. Coda is a good example of someone who tried to take a car from China and bring it to the U.S. and was just never able to get it certified for U.S. sales in any significant number.
What car was that, Patrick?
I was talking about Coda.
Coda.
Oh, Coda. I'm sorry. I thought you said Toyota. Coda.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I honestly thought that their reinforced paper mache infrastructure. I thought for sure they nailed it with that.
The nice thing is your first grader can repair your car.
Yes.
You just
inflatable Ziploc sandwich bags for airbags.
Tape, and they kind of go out, and all of a sudden you have fins. Yay!
Yeah.
There's a dragon head coming out of the roof of the car. Hey, the kid has fun. You have your car.
Daddy, can I fix your car? Oh, I'm not done with the paper yet. Hold on.
Yeah. Now, the problem is, of course, if you hit rain on the way to work.
Ooh, right.
Ow. That's the tough
part. I'm glad they're bankrupt. They can't sue us for this.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, let's talk about something a little more maybe contentious. I don't know. Maybe not as contentious as the Tesla Airbnb thing, but a very, very interesting article on Motor Trend yesterday. And I'm not a big fan of the whole car spy thing, but this was interesting because I had missed this story originally, and God help me, somebody's going to say, but you reported on it 2 years ago.
How did you not know?
Yeah, Hyundai's been working on a dedicated hybrid car, which of course Motor Trend calls the Prius Fighter.
Of course.
If only Hyundai would actually name the car Prius Fighter, I would give 150%. Because that's a horrible name, but at least it's interesting.
It hurt your soul to say that link bait name.
I'm still actually, my heart.
You know what? I actually think Hyundai, in order to get on the new generation's radar, is going to start naming their cars that start with hashtags.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good idea, Tony. Well, Hyundai's working on a dedicated hybrid. It won't be a conversion like their current hybrid offerings. Again, very similar to the Prius. And if you go to whatdrives.us and click on the show links to look at the photographs of this vehicle, the exterior of this vehicle are going to give you a serious fall down on the ground and roll around laughing sense of deja vu because it looks like a Prius. I mean, the exterior, it looks like an '06 Prius to me. Is that just me?
No, it does. It is what my wife would call what used to be a Prianda.
Oh, I like that.
You know, the Prianda was the second generation Insight that as we were driving along, she'd say, look, it's a Honda.
I like that.
And so this is going to be a Priunday.
So, you know, somehow these car guys found these people out in the desert driving around in not only this dedicated new hybrid Hyundai, but in a battery electric, a plug-in version, or excuse me, a complete EV version of the same car. Somehow they got pictures underneath the car.
You know, that just boggles my mind.
Doesn't that seem like a press release to you?
Oh,
yes, it does.
And these pictures are taken from the exact same angle underneath. Now, I'm not to say that someone couldn't just walk up, you know, but don't these cars have people around them with tasers to keep journalists away?
Apparently, tasing journalists is a bad thing. Someone needs to tell Donald Trump that. But
yeah.
That's as link baity as I'm getting this week, by the way. Donald Trump.
All right.
Yeah. So they say these are spy shots, but they're pretty obviously not spy shots. It's a fine line of how do you start getting attention and getting your brand out there and getting your name known, but yet you're not ready to reveal the car, but you want to start building some of that hype ahead of time. This is clearly they let this guy come in and take a lot of pictures because he's got like 35 of them, and like you said, shots with the door open, shots inside, shots with the back open, shots under the underbody, comparing the two cars side by side. He was obviously invited, obviously.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture here of the interior. I mean, good Lord, it was taken from the passenger seat. I mean, there's just no two ways around it.
Right. So, observations about this car. Number one, I think it's very interesting as we're about, and we'll talk a little bit more about this after this article, but as we're about to see a new generation of Prius, that Hyundai is working on a dedicated hybrid. That could be a very interesting vehicle. The other side of that is, looking at this interior, that is maybe the worst interior that I could possibly imagine showing up in a hybrid car. It just looks horrible to me.
Are you just talking about the dash in general?
Yeah, it looks like a '05 Elantra or something, or Accent. I mean, it's really analog looking. And again, who knows if this is the dash? Maybe it's just a mule, and but standard kind of gear shift, analog gauges in the hybrid. Obviously, the EV was a little more LCD screen heavy, but it didn't really it didn't feel different, you know?
Right, and they did that thing that, honestly, they did the one thing that just completely ruined the Gen 3 Prius for me, which is the segmented numbers on the dashboard. That just, like, oh my God, it's an LCD, it's a computer screen. Why do you need to do that? Just draw the numbers. It just irks me. For reasons that I can't explain. My therapist is working through it, but I just can't stand those numbers.
No, I think that's a really good point. I mean, there's no reason these dashboards can't be beautiful and configurable, and there's no reason you shouldn't be able to pick the font, for God's sakes.
I know. That is, to me, that was one thing that when I sat in the Volt, I thought it was just a beautiful display because it was a computer screen, and it was colorful, and it was very engaging. And then I see something like this, and I'm like, well, you're not even trying.
Yeah. So the article doesn't say when we're going to see this.
Nope, we have no idea when the hashtag's coming out.
Yeah.
The Hyundai hashtag.
I mean,
okay.
It seems unlikely we're going to see it this year, so maybe 2017 model year? I mean, they got to be close if they're driving it around.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if they're at this point where they are actually leaking the spy photos. Then, yeah, I would say within a year we're going to start seeing some real traction on it. And I have to say, I'm looking at the picture in the gallery. I think it's picture number 4, Hyundai Kia Hybrid EV Group 4. There is literally a Prius sitting next to these cars.
Well, there's a whole caravan. There's like a Soul EV. There's like a whole bunch of different alt cars out caravanning through the desert, and I'm not sure. I have no idea why.
I guess if they wanted to compare, okay, how's this one accelerate? How's this one handle? Let's see how ours feels compared to that one and this one, and compared to the e-Golf or the Leaf or whatever.
Wow.
It's interesting. Well, you can see these dozens of photographs of this new Hyundai at whatdrives.us. There'll be a link to the Motor Trend site. And if you're interested, we would love to hear your thoughts. You can always visit us at facebook.com/whatdrivesus and tell us what you think. I'm going to be very interested to see someone push Toyota in a dedicated hybrid because Honda failed so spectacularly at that.
Yes, they did. Oh, in one of the photos here in the notes, it says the 2017 Hyundai dedicated hybrid. So they're calling it a 2017.
Yeah, they are indeed. You're absolutely right. Jeez, if I just looked at the detailed text. Who would think to look at the captioning text on a spy photo?
It's actually in a really crappy font, so it is hard to read. Speaking of fonts.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
I'm looking at the gallery, and underneath the picture what I see is, need to save on your phone plan? Visit Total Wireless.
I don't think I do need to save my phone plan.
Yeah.
Are we giving shout-outs to phone plans? Because I just got on Google Fi.
Did you? Well, you could do that. Yeah. We're going to get to
no,
that.
No, it's okay. I'm just kidding. Forget it.
That is our news for this week. Let's wrap this bad boy up and start with some shout-outs. Tony.
Oh, geez.
You took last week off, didn't you?
I did, yes. I took the week off, and so I want to come back and I say, throw it back to you, Russell, and ask you to play all the messages that we have on our voicemail at 515-51-DRIVE.
Done?
All right, great.
What was that number again, Tony?
That was 515-51-DRIVE.
Don't even bother.
I wish people would just...
Oh, we got to keep it going now.
Program it in your phone so you could accidentally butt dial us. I mean, it's something. Yes, but apparently not. So I do want to say make sure and engage with us. A lot of our listeners engage with us on our Facebook page. That is at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. We love seeing the articles that you guys post, and we love getting your feedback that way. This is a two-way street. It's not like television where you just tune in, you watch the television, you turn it off. This is a conversation, and we really do enjoy hearing from you guys. So keep the conversation going.
There you go. I like that. Patrick, let's hear about your phone plan.
I bet you I could dial. What is it? 515-51 Drive?
Oh yeah.
Don't you
So
dare.
easy to remember.
Don't you dare.
No, but my phone plan does have Wi-Fi calling, which is really cool because I would always drop calls at work, and now I can just walk in the building, it switches over to Wi-Fi, and the call quality actually gets better. So whatever phone plan you're on, look for one that has Wi-Fi calling because it is a sweet feature. And I'd like to give a shout out to Dr. Evan Fusco for not being here today because he owed me a few and he missed out. So this was his chance. He said he was going to come prepared with a bunch of Pat Burns, and he's not here. So thanks, Evan.
I'm sure you'll return the favor soon, Patrick. If I know Evan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't. You don't think he forgot about all those?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, if you wonder what we're talking about, last week's show was a lot of fun for me. I threw Evan under the bus, backed over him, ran over him again. Lots of fun.
I think the good part was when you dragged him about 150 feet down the street.
Yeah, that was fun. And as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. That's my shout-outs.
Wow. Totally.
Okay, guys, I have got to do this.
No, you don't.
Oh, no.
As long as you're not eating pretzels.
No.
As long as he's not eating pretzels, he can do
No, I'm not eating pretzels. This is our friend Austin. He sent me this. So we were talking about, what I'm drinking, which is the Super Pills, which is now empty, so it must be the end of the show. So he responds, he's got a 40 of Miller Lite and a box of sushi. Go, Austin, go.
Wow.
That's got to be one of the best ways to watch this show ever.
Yeah.
I think that let's set a new tradition. You get a 40, you get a drink, you sit down on Wednesday nights and hang out with us. We would love that.
Yes. Yeah,
As
that is
always,
awesome.
I want to thank Michael Mannering for his theme music. You can visit him at manthing.com, and I suggest you do. You can buy his stuff on iTunes or CD Baby. Please do support him because he supports this show, and we thank Michael Mannering, as always, for that. You can download us on iTunes. You can subscribe there. We're available on Stitcher as well, and probably some other services whose names I'm not recalling right now. But if you have a smartphone, chances are you can have this show delivered directly to that. There's the Aluminum Falcon. There we go. Wait. Come on, Patrick. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Doing the flyby.
Nice.
I now want one.
Nice. I like that. That's nice. Good little cameo from the Aluminum Falcon. That was very nice. Let's see what else. Visit us at whatdrives.us. Obviously, all our shows are there in audio and video form. You can download them there. You can stream them there. You can get the show links and click and read the news for yourself. Then go to the Facebook page at facebook.com/whatdrivesus and tell us you guys totally read that article wrong, which we'd love to hear. Although it never happens because we don't read the articles wrong.
Right. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Patrick and Tony, thank you very much for being on the show this week.
Always a pleasure.
Fun times.
Absolutely. Tony, was that a Bears jersey?
Yes. So it's
But that's not for you, I hope.
No. That is my wife's Bears T-shirt. But hockey season, because it's the Blackhawks, so it's hockey season is over. So football season is coming up, and I don't have an official Bears jersey, so I had to go with the T-shirt there.
It was the whole gender thing that was kind of confusing me. I'm like, I'm sure you'd look good in that. Don't get
And
me
I
wrong.
do. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord, I do.
Oh, I'm sure you rock that shirt. It wasn't like I figured that might belong to Mrs.
That is the shirt that I wear on North Halstead when I'm downtown Chicago.
That's why they don't let you take field trips at work anymore.
Right.
Exactly. Patrick, thank you very much for bringing the aluminum falcon and a beer.
Yeah.
New tradition.
We will. I do want to say, very importantly, Danny kind of blurted this out the other day. We will be at the 4th generation Prius reveal event on September 9th? 8th in Las Vegas, Nevada, United States. So we are looking at streaming the show. You may want to check Prius Chat as well for a live stream. I'm going to try and Periscope some stuff. And I will try and post a link to that on the Facebook page. So if you want to get the chance to be some of the first human eyeballs to see the next generation Prius, What Drives Us is going to do everything it can to be there. But more importantly than that, because we're not necessarily like a scoop priority kind of news thing, we're going to do some nice video afterwards. So the following week, look for some cool videos, look for some in-depth stuff. I don't know how much information we're going to get, but if they let us, we'll be taking the car apart. So,
yes, yeah, that is true. That is just because that's what we did in 2010. We literally took the car apart on the display. That was fun. We took it apart and we left. And we just kind of left it in pieces.
Who better to put their prototypes back together than the people who make them?
Exactly. I'm really looking forward to Las Vegas, and honestly, I'm looking forward to taking pictures and posting them as fast as I can, either to Prius Chat or the What Drives Us Facebook page, or the Prius Chat Facebook page, or the Twitter feed. And then one thing that I had mentioned to Russell is possibly getting together and doing a reveal debrief What Drives Us show, and so it would be our impressions. It would be people who love this technology, some existing Prius owners, getting the very first impressions of what the next generation is, what it looks like. Of course, we won't be able to drive it, but we'll be inside, outside, and get some information.
Long enough, we will.
Panelists, who else going that you guys know? That the show, people in the show, who else going? Danny and Russell and Tony.
Danny, Russell, me, Mark, Ricky, and Jonathan, who's been on the show. Tom Stengel and Linda.
And Evan.
And that guy.
That guy. That guy. Asshole.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Is that everyone?
Yeah.
I think that was everyone.
I think you actually did name everyone. You want me to publish their home addresses too? So
please.
That's why I said, people that have been on the show. Glenn Hutchison said, "Tell Evan Fusco to holler as he drives by him." So I have no idea which way Evan's going, or if he's going to go by Glenn's house. But there you go, Evan.
He won't be able to hear it, so he'll have to holler
as you fly over.
Hopefully. So we'll do our best to have some tidbits right away for you, and also some thoughtful analysis afterwards, which I think is maybe even better.
That's going to be on a Tuesday, right? That's the Tuesday following Labor Day.
Yes.
So What Drives Us fans, or fan singular, should watch the mailbox for a link, because if this happens, I have a feeling it's going to be like a flash mob, that there's going to be a link and there's going to be a show. It's just going to happen.
I'm really afraid of the late night in Las Vegas Tuesday night show that we might make with like 9 of us holding iPads, shouting at each other across the room.
Well, no, you do it with 2 hands. Actually, it would be an iPad or a phone with 1 hand, and then our drink, whatever that'll be, in the other. And if it lasts an hour, we're not drinking hard enough.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it is Las Vegas.
Right.
So there you go. Look for that coming up here in just a little more than a week.
Wow.
Until then, as always, download us next week and find out what drives us.